The woman simply mentioned she was a vegetarian, but the wealthy man immediately pulled out $10,000 in cash, declaring that if she'd eat the steak in front of her, the money would be hers. At first, Lucy didn't want to compromise her principles, but staring at that thick stack of bills, she didn't hesitate. She polished off every last bite of that steak. The rich man was clearly pleased with himself and immediately had his butler deliver the cash to Lucy. While everyone else was drinking, John, sitting next to the wealthy host, was sipping water. It turned out John used to be a heavy drinker until 16 years ago, when a drunk driving accident killed his wife and child. Since then, he'd sworn off alcohol for life. When the rich man learned about John's tragedy, he showed no sympathy whatsoever. Instead, he had his butler bring another 10 grand, announcing that if John would drink the glass in front of him, the money would be his. John just smiled slightly and declined. Seeing this, the wealthy man called for his butler to bring 40,000 more, declaring that if John finished the bottle in front of him, he could walk away with all 50,000. Faced with that tempting pile of cash, John was clearly torn. After wrestling with himself, he finally grabbed the bottle and downed the whole thing. He got his 50,000 as promised. The rich man clapped his hands gleefully, then had his staff clear the table, announcing that tonight's game would now officially begin. The wealthy host knew exactly what he was dealing with. Everyone present was from the bottom rungs of society, desperate for money. He promised that the winner of this game would take home a grand prize of $5 million. The rules were simple. Participants just had to make a choice within 15 seconds when given options by the host and follow through. But if they ran out of time, refused to choose, or failed to execute their choice, they'd be eliminated immediately. After explaining the rules, the rich man gave everyone one last chance, asking if they were sure they wanted to play. If they chose to participate, they'd have to see it through to the end. Anyone who wanted out could be sent home right then. John almost grabbed his 50,000 and left, but then he thought about it. The winner would get 5 million. He ultimately returned to his seat. The wealthy man announced the game had officially begun. At his command, his men wheeled in a box covered in black cloth. Inside was an electric shock device. John immediately tried to quit, furiously cursing the rich man for treating them like they weren't even human. But before he could finish speaking, the butler made John stop breathing on the spot. Everyone was stunned. Clearly, from this moment on, they were all trapped with no choice but to play this horrifying game.